Today, we're lucky enough to have Paul DeCamara from CuraWest Detox in Denver. Paul, welcome.
Hey, Mark, thanks for having me on.
Thanks so much for being willing to do this. So, Paul, you're really definitely someone I respect in the industry, um, and we're really grateful that you're willing to hop on our YouTube channel and just talk with us a little bit, so we can get to know you a little bit better, maybe a little bit about Cure West, and really just shed some light on kind of your treatment experience, knowledge, insights, that kind of stuff. So maybe to get started with, you can just maybe tell us how you got involved in this space, in this world.
Sure. No, again, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. Um, All Points North is a program I really respect. I've gotten to know you, Mark. I respect you as a person, an individual, and in the industry as well. So when you gave me this opportunity to hop on here, it was something I was excited about.
Thank you.
We are new to Colorado as a facility, but we're not a new organization. Guardian Recovery Network has mainly East Coast facilities, but like I said, this is our first West Coast kind of venture out here in Colorado. So I'm getting to meet people like yourself, Mark, and All Points North, and Carrie, and everybody involved over there is very welcoming, which is nice.
Wonderful.
Myself, I am from Philadelphia originally, but I got sober in South Florida through one of the Guardian facilities, a prison recovery center. And that, along with my lifetime of follies with drugs and alcohol, is kind of what's really teed up this profession for me. I mean, I know a little bit about a lot of different things, and I know a lot about addiction, and it's mainly through my own experiences. It's a passion that I have. It's something that's impacted myself, my family, my loved ones, and I think what better use of everything that I've gone through than to be able to turn that around and give quality care to people way out.
Wonderful. So just a point of clarification. So Guardian Network, you mentioned that, and that is that like the parent company of CuraWest Detox?
Yeah, that's the parent company of CuraWest,
Yeah.
Guardian Recovery Network. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So thanks for giving us a little bit of that background. So what do you feel like you're especially passionate about?
In regards to the recovery spaces, I think that I really shine the best in the crisis moments and the crisis situations. I'm a person that maybe it's due to my Philadelphia East Coast mentality, but I do not shy away from the confrontational conversations that need to be had. Um, when it's time to put the cards on the table and call a situation for what it is, and have that difficult conversation, whether it's with the client who's looking to leave and do something different, or whether it's with the family who really can't get on board with what's best for their loved one. Um, Feeling the emotion in those conversations and what's on the line, what's at stake, which is really somebody's life. Those tough conversations that need to be had are something that I think I do really well.
Really like what you just said. Some of us who get a little time in recovery, I think, I'll just speak for myself. I think it's easy to kind of forget, the life and death aspect of it, and that's is such a real thing. Not to mention all the suffering that folks are in or go through, and that I think sometimes that's easy to forget. So I'm glad you reminded us of that. Um, so, what do you feel? My next question, Paul, go down my little list here is what do you feel like you find yourself usually talking about or liking to talk about in this world?
In the recovery space or in the recovery industry, I would say in my own life personally, in the recovery world, I like to speak to people who are trying to take that next step in life. I think one of the experiences that I had in getting sober this time was that I did a lot of work in regards to my recovery. I took a lot of suggestions and I got this real base built of sobriety where, I had my meetings that I would hit, I had my sober supports, I had a lot of people on board with me. But once the sobriety's kind of in place, there's for a lot of people kind of what's next. You know what I mean? Well, now that I'm sober, now what do I do? You know what I mean?
Right.
Is uh, what am I passionate about? Why I can't even really remember what I like to do anymore because drugs and alcohol have become such a priority and were so ingrained in my life that I'm still trying to figure out who I am in sobriety and what I like to do. And I think a lot of people kind of come to that spot and get stuck where, they're afraid once they have that basic sobriety to take that next step to start to really develop that life. And, I got sober so I could have a life, and sobriety will always be kind of the keystone or major component in my life, but I don't want it to be my life, if that makes sense. So, helping people kind of find those passions again, whether it's fitness or art or music, or whether they want to get involved in the recovery industry or real estate or the restaurant industry, kind of just helping people take those next couple of steps with, what do I do to move forward with my life now that I'm sober, is what I personally really like to get involved in with people.
Yeah, yeah, that's great, Paul. What I can really relate to and identify with, and I think a lot of people can, um, just reinventing yourself, for so many people in recovery. Since we're talking about recovery and addiction, we've got years, if not decades, of living a life a certain way and really don't know any other way of how to exist, or right. Um, so finding a new lifestyle, some new habits, some new behaviors, some new activities, I think is critical for really trying to find your new life and kind of reinvent yourself and find something that you're comfortable with, and happy with, being and doing in your life. Um, so, what do you wish? Next question, Paul. Batter up. Next question is, what do you wish everyone knew about?
What do I wish everybody knew about me or knew
Well,
about in general?
I think in general, I think in general.
Um, I wish that everybody knew in the recovery space. I wish that everybody knew that there are a variety of resources, there are a variety of options, and that recovery is possible. I wish that everybody knew that this isn't always a one size fits all solution. Um, I think that people maybe get a taste of sobriety or they get a taste of what the recovery industry is, and they just kind of put it all in one box when that's really not the case. So I think there's a lot of people out there doing a lot of good work right now that can really be a sounding board, for families or for people struggling, so they can have this big conversation of you know what help is available, where to get that help, you know, based upon the person's experiences and what they want to do with their life. And it's not just you have a problem, let me shove you in this solution. Yeah, I think that's a big thing.
That's great. That's a great answer. Maybe one of the last questions, Paul, is maybe you could talk about CuraWest a little bit and, let us know. You just kind of talked about options and getting help, and what kind of, uh, individual is it that your program is for, or that you often are working with? That may be an obvious question, but
No, there's no. It's like kind of like I said before. There's no obvious questions. There's no stupid questions when it comes to treatment and recovery. I think asking questions is imperative, whether you think the answers are obvious or not. When, like you said, we're dealing with somebody's life, let's just be blunt about it. Let's ask the questions that we just want to make sure that we're on the same page about. CuraWest is a company and a location that I'm passionate about because of my own experience. Like I said, I got sober through one of our other facilities. I know everybody from the owners down to the behavioral health techs to the drivers in several of our locations. And I see the passion that runs throughout this company and the culture that's been created to try and help people. So here at CuraWest, now that it's being a new facility, we're trying to recreate that culture of just, care, attention, love, respect for people when they come in here. I would say, you know, if you have a problem with drugs and alcohol, you need to be removed from those drugs and alcohol. we could be a very good option for you because we are such an individualized detox process for people, which means that we're willing to meet you where you're at right now in order to get you to take that first step. That first step of giving up control and stepping into a facility and saying, okay, help me, it is a very difficult one to do. Sometimes knocking over that first pylon is the toughest one to get the ball rolling. So what we want to do is meet you where you're at. We are truly an individualized detox. And what that means is that we're going to take a look at the person as a whole for what their detox protocol is going to be. How old are you? What have you been using? How long have you been using it? What other health complications do you have? And what is it going to be best to get you through this detox process in a timely manner where we're not dragging our feet, but we're also not rushing it, so you feel comfortable while you're going through the detox process. In addition to that, we provide a very nice space to detox in. Detoxing, in my experience, is miserable. It's never a fun experience for anybody. But sometimes when you have a nicer room and nicer sheets and a nice bed and a TV and people who are caring and trying to see how they can help you, makes the experience a little bit more manageable and might be the difference in you making it through the full detox versus throwing your hands up on day 2 or day 3 and saying, I can't do this. So we do provide that individualized detox process. We have 15 single bedrooms here and 5 doubles. It is both a co-ed facility, but broken up into gender-specific wings. We have a catering company that brings in a very nice menu on a daily basis, accommodating all different types of dietary needs or restrictions, and making sure that people are getting the comfort things that they need to get through this detox process.
So I think this will be my last question, Paul, but this is so basic, but but not that, not so many years ago, I didn't understand this. Why is detox so important for those that may need that?
Well, for one, it can be a real medical risk to try and detox yourself on your own, depending upon what you're using. Um, one of the things that we provide here is constantly taking people's vitals, monitoring their vitals, and making sure that they're stable. We also have the benefit in this location of being connected to a hospital where, God forbid, anything started to happen that was out of the skew of a typical detox can handle. We have doing an emergency room in 30 seconds. So we do have that support at this location, which is just huge. But for the average person who maybe it's not a life-threatening detox, again, it's tough to make it through detox because the mind, the body, everything is telling you to use again while you're detoxing. So having that staff that I think that we have here is so beneficial. So when the wheels are turning in your head and you need to talk out a bad thought process, we always have someone to sit down and talk to you and walk you through those difficult times. When you're saying, I want to get out of here, I need a drink, I need to use, we have systems in place here to stop you from making those emotional knee-jerk reactions where maybe that feeling or thought passes in the moment and that gets you through that day. I tried to detox myself at home countless times. Sometimes I'd make it 12 hours, sometimes I'd make it 3 days, but inevitably doing it on my own, left to my own devices, I crumble. So again, coming in here and having the staff and the supplemental medications and the qualified trained therapists to work with you and talk you through tough situations there's not a price you can put on getting through a detox properly.
Yeah, well, thank you for elaborating on that and talking about that, because really that is such a for people who are trying to get help and get into, stop drinking, stop using whatever it is that they're doing. Doing that safely is just so critically important, and it can be life and death if they just sometimes try to decide to do that on their own. And some people don't know that. Like you just said, I've done it multiple times at home. So what's another time at home? No big deal. But it could be a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I think Paul, we're gonna wrap it up there. I think that's probably enough of the time that we've had together for this. And I want to thank you for the work that you do, uh, and thank you for your time again, being a guest today. I'll look forward to talking with you again soon.
Mark, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on. Tell everybody I said hello.
Okay, thanks, Paul.
All
Thank
right.
you.